On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks build up a 27-point lead against Los Angeles Lakers, and they lose it in a bunch of ways, including...
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
We'll explain why Jason Kidd said that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. If we let it ride after wins, should we just cut it out real quick after losses like that one? Such a bad loss. Thanks for being part of the show. Make it Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know.
I bet those comments are going today.
Let out your feelings. This is a safe place. Give me one reason why the Mavs lost this game. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. That's PrizePicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The madman, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Yeah, I don't think I've been as pissed off after a game than it was this one. This was tough for me. I hate the Lakers, so I don't know if y'all knew that, if that was any breaking news to you, but I just had to go grocery shopping after the game. So that was my relief. Just, go buy dumb stuff at the grocery.
What's one dumb thing you bought?
I bought Easter egg Whoppers.
Oh.
I don't know why, but
just because I'm mad. I'm mad. I gotta drown my sorrows in candy.
But no, I mean, really, it was a tough loss. I mean, it was one of the worst losses for the year, 100% for the Mavs. And as we know, when you get down the stretch like this, you need every win that you can.
Yeah, today's episode, we'll get into Jason Kidd's quote after the game, where I alluded to it in the intro.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
He said, I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you. Talked about the maturity of the team to a question that I asked him. So we'll play that in a second and talk about what he meant by that and who he was calling out. Because he was calling out somebody with that. And then we'll talk about the Mavs loss to the Lakers, 111-108. And what the new calculus is for the Mavericks, because I think we know it at this point. I think we kind of know it at this point. So let's get into that. But let's start here. I mean, let's play the clip. This is Jason Kidd after the game. Question from me when I asked him about not calling timeouts, because there are stretches this season. It's not just been this game. There have been stretches this season where the Mavericks will allow a run to come at them. Like the other team will come at them with a 10-0 run or a 13-0 run or something like that. And Jason Kidd will just let him play it out. And he won't call timeouts and he won't stop momentum and all that. And I was curious about his mentality behind that, so that's what I asked him.
Runs when the Lakers were making big runs at the end of the second quarter. What's your mentality or your thought process in not calling timeout?
Yeah, I'm not the savior here. I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys. And as a team, we got to mature. And we got a lot of new bodies coming back, and we have to grow up if we want to win a championship. There's no young team that's ever won a championship, mentally or physically. And so just to see how we could respond, again, 2.5 quarters, we're playing at a high level on both ends, offensively and defensively. But what the Lakers just showed us is that it's not a race. It's not the rabbit who wins. It's the turtle. And they work the game. And that's where we have to get to. We have to get better at working the game, and we will.
And so now this is the quote that's making the rounds on Twitter. It's a very easy quote to react to. It's a very easy quote to look at and be like, like what? Like what the heck? What do you mean you're watching just like us? And he said, I'm watching just like you. He's looking me in the eye. It says I'm watching just like you guys. You take that first part of the clip, Isaac, and you're like, why won't Jason Kidd take any blame for any of these losses? Because it doesn't seem like he takes blame for losses. You look at the second part of that quote, and he talks about the maturity, and I think we can understand that in a certain sense from what happened in this game.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the first part or the
Let's
second part?
Let's start with the first part.
Yeah, there's a difference between him and Rick, right? I mean, Rick would stand up there right after a game, and it doesn't matter what happened with the players on the court. Rick Carlisle was going to get up and be like, yeah, didn't have them prepared enough. Even if you're like, you're kind of full of crap. Like, that was kind of on the players.
Yeah.
Some coaches do that. Kid is not one of those guys, with the media. He could be saying that to the players, but, he's not, he doesn't say that a ton to us.
There's one sense of Jason Kidd that is my favorite quote.
I don't always tell you guys the truth.
It's true. Sometimes he doesn't always tell you. So he embellishes at times, and it says, hey, like, there are moments where I'm just watching. Like, I'm the coach. I can only do so much. Like, I kind of understand that point, but to just say I'm watching just like you guys, I'm not playing, to imply that he doesn't have an impact, some kind of impact on the game, or to imply that he has the same kind of impact on a game that you or I have, or you listening have. Like, imagine that. And that is where it just seems like a completely out of pocket quote, where he's just not taking any responsibility. It's not taking responsibility to the point where he says, I'm just watching like you guys. That to me that's not something you want to hear as a team. Even as players. Like, imagine this gets back to the players and you're a player on the court and be like, coach didn't take any blame for this at all, and he's just saying, oh, he's just watching and we're just out there and we're the ones that messed up. There's no blame on the coaches at all. And so at that point, I don't understand. The second part of the quote. Go ahead.
No, yeah, like you said, I think there's two sides of this. It's the whole two sides of all the coaching stuff that, anytime there's a fan base that argues about a coach, there's one side it's like, this coach sucks. He can't do anything. He doesn't know anything. Why isn't he helping? There's another side that's like, well, that coach ain't out there blocking out. He can't do it. He can't shoot the shots either.
Everyone knows when a coach is terrible. Everybody knows when a coach is pretty good, but nobody knows those middle coaches. Like, there's a whole bunch of coaches in the middle, and no one really knows if they're good or bad.
Here's my thing with Kidd with some things. I think I try to give him the benefit of doubt of like where he's thinking. It's just he would just word things differently than how I'd word them.
Good morning, Isaac.
I think what he is trying to say is like, once again, I wouldn't say this as a coach because you're kind of deflecting, back to your players. I think he is trying to say that, guys, I can only do so much. Like,
he is 100%.
Luka can only get beat off so many box outs from Jared Vanderbilt going on the baseline before he's going to like box out ever, or, whatever it is. Like, I can't do that. I can't go out there and box out for Luka. All right. So there's one side of they saying that, but like, he does have a role too. And I just wouldn't like verbalize it.
So there's the two sides, right? The first side is what I just said earlier, is that he's not taking any blame for this, and he needs to in some way, in some capacity. I think that's what leadership is to me. And I don't think he's being a leader coming out with these quotes. Now, he could be saying something completely different to the players, and he may just not care at all what he says to us and just be like, hey,
I don't always tell you guys the truth.
And just like come out and say wild things, because I think he does. And I think he just lies to us blatantly sometimes. So I'm not going to take this as this is his message to the team. I don't think that he says the same message to the media that he says to the players, because I don't think he cares about what he says to us. The second part I think is true is he says, I'm watching just like you guys. Us as a team, we have to mature. We have to grow up if we want to win a championship. This is 100% him calling out Luka Doncic for this game. And for many other reasons. No, he talked about this being a young team, and we got to mature and we got to get better. Blah blah. He's not talking
about that to Kirk.
He's not talking about Kirk. Kirk DM'd me already. He's not talking about young players on this team. He's talking about Luka Doncic. He's calling out Luka Doncic, whether he meant it to come out in the media or not. He talked about the way that they responded to other things happening in the game. And that was referees, that was calls not going their way, shots not going their way. It's happened for years now, or 2 years now. We've seen Jason Kidd talk about this and mention this a couple times. And he's definitely calling out Luka Doncic with this quote right here.
Yeah, it's a subtweet to Luka. I mean, there's no other way around it. I mean, everybody knew it. Media knew it.
If we know it, Luka Doncic knows it.
Yeah, and it is. There's a part of that of, it's really hard. We talk about the Mavericks every single day. it's really hard, to talk about the areas of growth for Luka without, Luka stands, just rising up and, wanting to have a revolt against us. But at some point,
he's got to take some blame for that. He was bad in this game. Coming up, we'll talk about
coming up. Let's do it.
Coming up, he's got to take some blame for this, and so we'll talk about why. Because one of the biggest things that this Mavericks team struggles with is one of the things that he has to cover for, which isn't fair, but he has to. We'll talk about why and why Jason Kidd said this coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. You can go to PrizePicks right now and you can pick Jared Vanderbilt over like 1 million rebounds if he plays the Mavericks again. Your boy Terry Rozier and the Hornets playing the Pistons. 21.5 points, more or less. Mark Williams, 12.5 points. Mark Williams is showing some stuff. There's
been balling lately.
There's the incredible clip, Mark Williams, from the Hornets broadcast crew, and he got that clutch dunk.
I don't have much to be excited about.
Give me less on Mark Williams. If I put down $20, I can win 60. If I add LaMelo in there and I go more than 25.5, I can win 45. Go check out PrizePicks, see what's available for you right now. And while you're there, use the promo code LOCKEDON. You can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. Again, that's prizepicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. All right, Isaac. Sorry to interrupt you earlier. Let's talk about Luka.
Thanks, Nick.
Let's talk about Luka Doncic. We'll get a comment. Nick always interrupts Isaac. I know, I get it. Jason Kidd called out Luka Doncic for this game and said that we need to mature as a team, talking about responding to the refs, talking about rebounding, talking about defense, all that stuff.
Said grow up.
How much or is Jason Kidd right in his call out to Luka Doncic in that, and why?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Luka, at some point in Luka's career, you would think that he is going to mature in that area of his game. That it's not just I took my camera tonight. I'm just trying to get better at photography in my world. You're trying to mature as a photographer. But, I'm not even using it for anything. I'm just trying to get better at it. It's just a hobby I'm trying to have fun with. And I was just like, there was a span to where I just followed Luka around the whole time, like with my camera. And it's like, after I'm like, this dude never stops talking to the refs. Like, never stops. Even after and ones, even after plays that go his way, it's coming back and let me tell you more about what you missed, 2 times down the floor. And then it's like the rotate. And then what a lot of you guys don't see on the broadcast is timeouts happen. I mean, I can't tell you how many timeouts happen, and he is across the court talking to somebody. There's an assistant that's waiting, or another, Theo Pence or something. It's like, all right, come on. And for him, I think it does. It just affects him. And it's what Jason gets talking about. It's like, at some point, you got to get past that. Your calls are not going to go your way all the time. And especially whenever you have a lead against the Los Angeles Lakers that, a lot of fans, it's a popular team that, calls might not go your way whenever.
Oh, come on. You can go deeper than that.
That was ludicrous. Like what there was some of these calls that happened in the second half was absolutely insane. They stopped.
Are you saying
they stopped a game, a Mavericks fast break? Because LeBron was hurt. What? And then they said it was an inadvertent whistle. Oh, I bet it was. I bet it was an inadvertent whistle. Because I've never seen him stop the game, blow the whistle, because people were and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I mean, there's so many things that they missed in the second half or went the Lakers' way, but it's not all the refs. We say this all the time. There was some very bad stuff tonight, but it was their defense, whatever. But yeah, Luka's got to mature. He needs somebody to call him out. Like who has? Okay, let me ask you this question. Who has the ability to call Luka out, to say I even go back. There's a clip in that podcast with JJ Barea and JJ Redick back at, it feels like it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When JJ Barea told JJ Redick at some point he'll take it serious. And he was talking about his conditioning and some of that, all that stuff. That's what will level him up to the next level of But he's what, 23? And he's like, dude, I'm an MVP candidate. I've already been to the conference final. Like, he's going to be a first team All NBA guy. Yep. He's accomplishing everything. So for him to just reach that upper echelon, the other realm of superstardom, multiple titles, he's got to mature. He's got to mature with his diet stuff and all of that. Like, there's these things that he has to get better at to reach that next level. And I'm sorry, y'all can comment and say whatever freak you want to about me criticizing Luka.
True.
Right
now.
There's too many times tonight that Jared Vanderbilt was getting boards and these things were happening that it's like, Luka, you got to try. Like, you got to try. You got to run out there even when you don't have the ball. And so it's that stuff, and that's your teammates are looking at you. Your teammates they want to feed off your energy, and it's kind of tough, when that's happening.
Your question to who can call out Luka? How is it not Jason Kidd? Right? Like, I know
I'm not playing. I'm watching.
I know he's just watching. I know he's just watching, but how is it not Jason Kidd that can call him out? Right? It's the reason why you brought Jason Kidd in, because it's a voice that Luka respects. Isn't that the whole thing? The other part is, could it be Kyrie? Is Kyrie now the one that Luka does respect? Because we know he does. We know Luka loves Kyrie being around. He's super excited to have Kyrie there. Is Kyrie the one?
Signed off on the trade. Wanted the trade.
Signed off on the trade. We know that Luka Doncic we know that he respects him. And so at this point, and we've seen Kyrie, we've seen his, his rebounding and his defense and the way that he is, up for all parts of the game and the way he takes the game seriously. And about basketball, he's very serious, right? And he's very, he takes everything. He really wants to compete. He wants to do his best out there. He wants what's best for the team, all that stuff. And I wonder if it's Kyrie now. And now we're putting something else on Kyrie. But the thing that I mentioned earlier, that it's kind of unfair that Luka has to cover. Yes, it is unfair for Luka to have to cover rebounding, cover defense for this team, and so many other things that you would think these role players would help him for. That's what other superstars have, these guys that can cover them. Giannis has Brook Lopez and has, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday that can cover him on certain things. And Giannis doesn't even need that much covering. You have these guys, but Luka doesn't have that right now. He's got Kyrie that'll help him, but he's not getting covered anywhere else. Other guys are just holding their own. They're not able to cover for anybody else. And so it is unfair to have Luka be responsible for all these different things, but he is, and that's how the Mavericks will win. That's the only way the Mavericks will win right now is if these guys hit a ton of shots. Luka does a ton of stuff, and he has to be almost perfect, and Kyrie has to be almost perfect, or at least better than he was in this game for the Mavericks to get wins. And so at this point, yes, the next step for Luka is to take this stuff seriously, because you look at Jared Vanderbilt and they tried to hide Luka on Jared Vanderbilt, which a lot of teams do. They put their stars on the guy that's not going to have the ball in his hands and not do as much work. The Mavericks even talked about, they put LeBron in a bunch of pick and rolls and had Luka ISO on LeBron a bunch of times because they wanted LeBron to work on both ends to tire him out for the end. Didn't work because LeBron is at peak athletic, like whatever for a player, even at his age. And
they did take advantage of him on the switch. Like, Luka got past him in different stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And Luka got past him, and LeBron was dealing with that ankle thing or whatever. The inadvertent whistle stopped the play for, which was just 3 minutes in the third quarter, and it just inadvertent whistle because LeBron was hurt. The ref runs out on the floor and stops the game because LeBron was on the ground.
They didn't want to have any more sleepless nights.
But the Mavs tried to do that, and they tried to tire out the Lakers, and it didn't work. They tried it with AD, they tried it with LeBron, it didn't work. And on the other side, Jared Vanderbilt, 17 rebounds, 8 offensive. Those are the ones that really kill you. The defensive rebounds, some of them here and there are this is why you don't think rebounding matters. It's because some defensive rebounds can be there's nobody around you and you just grab a rebound. But the offensive ones have always mattered, and you've always said that those offensive rebounds always matter. If you're getting beat 17-11 on the offensive rebounds, that's bad. You can't.
And all rebounds matter. It's not even just offensive rebounds. All rebounds matter. I've always just said.
Did you just go all rebounds matter to me?
No,
I was trying to say that offensive rebounds matter, and you can't just come in with all rebounds matter. After you've been telling me the rebounds don't matter for the longest time. But Luka is guarding Jared Vanderbilt, and then the shot goes up from another Laker, and then Luka just completely loses him because he's just looking up at the ball, waiting for it to come to him because the way that Luka plays right now, he's got the ball and doing stuff, or nothing else is happening. like nothing else matters. And we've seen him try hard on defense. We've seen him try hard in these areas and be a good rebounder. And like we've seen it. We've seen what he's capable of. And since you're capable of so much, you're asked to do a lot. And it's kind of unfair that they ask him to do that. But on the same, like in a different way, that's what it takes to go to the next level and be a championship. So I actually agree with Kid on the second half of his quote, where he says we have to grow up if we want to win a championship. It's true.
Yeah, and no one's saying this whole game's on Luka. We're just talking about the quote. He does have to grow up on that side. What?
I was going to say, coming up, let's talk about the other ways the Mavs lost this game, because it's not just the refs that we've already mentioned. Yeah. It's not just Luka, and it's not just Kid.
I do want to talk about the last play of the game with Kyrie and Luka.
100%. That's one of the reasons why they lost. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is a protein bar. Tastes like a candy bar. They're absolutely delicious. And we got some satisfied customers. I had some Raccoon Squad members DM before the game or tweet at me before the game a box of the brownie batter puffs, and are like, hey, these better be as good as you say that they are. And they responded back and they're like, oh, they are. They're as good as you said that they are.
Yeah, they are.
And you got to love it. So go get your brownie batter puffs. You can go get them online. You can get them at built.com. You can go try some at Sam's Club and at Walmart. You can go get them. So go see the Built Bars and see where they are. Go check them out. And I just found it. Who was it? It was Alec. Shout out to Alec, who got the hype for the Built Bars, and he all of a sudden was hyping them up to somebody else who like messaged
Alec.
him and all that kind of stuff. The brownie batter puffs, my favorite bar. 17 grams of protein, 140 calories, only 6 grams of sugar, and I swear this bar is delicious. I took one to the Mavs game with me. At halftime, I was hungry. I ate the bar, and I felt good the rest of the time. I didn't have like hunger pains or anything like that. Go check it out, built.com. It's built or nothing.
Hunger pain.
All right, Isaac Harris, let's talk about other reasons why the Mavericks lost this game, because it's not just on the refs, not just on Luka, it's not just on Jason Kidd. Like there's a myriad of reasons. You build
spin the wheel.
You build a
defense.
Let's spin the wheel. Ready? What's another reason why the Mavs won?
Well, their defense sucked. But no, I want to talk about the Kyrie Luka last play, because I've seen some people already say it's like, oh, they can't get on the same page. They, look at the Minnesota game, look at this, and blah blah blah. I don't even count that play in the same category as the Minnesota one. The Minnesota one was legitimately them figuring each other out, potato. Like, well, I don't know who's going to shoot, all that. This one was just Luka forgetting the rule. Like Kyrie saw the angle that Jared Vanderbilt was, trying to defend Luka in the inbounds, and Kyrie just looked at it and was like, all right, we're getting the ball to Luka. So he just passed it into the backcourt just to get the ball to Luka. Like that's not a Kyrie Luka thing. Like any player could have done that. And Luka just forgot the rule that you can go into the backcourt and pick up the ball. And Luka's like, trying to save the ball. And it's like, no. What are you? And he even said post game, he's like, it's all on me. I just forgot the rule. And
he forgot it. And if they get that, it's a completely different.
Yeah, obviously, they still got to score and like all that, but still, I don't put that in the same category as like, man, can they work? I mean, do they have? It's like that wasn't really a Luka Kyrie thing.
It doesn't add to like the problem, right? Like they were down by 3 at that point. There was 15 seconds left or 18 seconds left when that went off. So if they get a 3 off, they hit a shot, they tie it. There's still probably more time. Maybe they run the clock all the way down, but yeah,
their fit's still great. I like their rotation stuff. Like, Kyrie is clearly deferring to Luka in the first quarter, because Luka, I mean, he's just coming down handing the ball off to let Luka do his thing. Luka was draining threes in the first.
Yeah.
It's Kyrie's time in the fourth. He owned it post game and said, hey, I didn't run the show the best, or however he worded it in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
There. And he just didn't have a good game. Like Kyrie is off, this game. He missed 8 threes in this game. He's 8 of 22, just at 21 for him. So it was an off game for him. So I think he'll bounce back. I think the Lakers too have like, Schroeder and Vanderbilt are just kind of these like pesty defenders that you just kind of like throw them out there and just like go annoy people, and they're kind of lanky for their positions. And I think Vanderbilt really got under Luka's skin a little bit tonight. I thought he played him really well.
Vanderbilt, well, Jason Kidd said he kicked our ass. several times.
I'm glad I still have my stock on Vanderbilt Island, by the way.
I mean, we were all for a Vanderbilt trade. We wanted it to happen so bad. We were making so many iterations of a Vanderbilt trade. We did want him on the Mavericks. And we're really upset and frustrated when all it took to get was Westbrook and like a protected first to get Vanderbilt, Beasley. We were like, oh, really?
Don't get me started on that.
Oh, come on. Should I get you started on it? But to talk about Dennis Schroeder though, there's a moment in the second quarter, about 6 minutes 30 seconds left, where Dennis Smith Jr. was like pressuring Tim Hardaway Jr. on ball. He was taking the ball up at like full court and he was pressuring him. Tim wasn't liking it, thought he was getting fouled.
Dennis Smith Jr.?
Did I just say that? That's not what I meant. I meant Dennis Schroeder. Tim Hardaway Jr. Dennis Schroeder and Tim Hardaway Jr. I'm gonna say Dennis Smith Jr. in the middle. Like it's just messing me up. Anyway, Tim Hardaway crossed over Schroeder and he dropped him and dropped him right on the ground. He pulled up.
That was nasty.
Tim Hardaway had the weirdest game I think I've ever seen of a Maverick in this game, because he was insanely good the first half. Was heat check shots, like absolute.
What about the block?
Heat check. The greatest block I've ever seen, maybe, from Tim Hardaway Jr. Maybe his best defensive play of his career, where he blocks LeBron on that play. Tim had an incredible first half and just an awful second half.
The full Tim experience. Speaking of Schroeder, after the game, Schroeder and Kyrie did the jersey exchange.
Schroeder and Tim did?
No, and Kyrie.
Kyrie. Yeah, they were talking the whole game, and they were like dapping up and all kinds of stuff. Like the whole game.
What do you think
Kyrie was like tapping him and yeah.
What does Kyrie do with that jersey? You putting up the Schroeder jersey in a frame in your house? I don't think so.
You know what? If you ever go to the store and you see you ever see those posters that are in those like the turnstile thing? They're like pages in a book. You know, like he just has a bunch of them in like a page turning thing. He's got like a big display in his basement or whatever he's got.
He's like, I got it rolled up.
Sorry, not his basement. His extra room that's just for random stuff like that, because he's a multi-gajillionaire.
Hey, what'd you think about the Josh Green Reeves dust up?
Austin Reeves wants the smoke. I don't think he wants that smoke.
No, Austin Reeves doesn't want that smoke. I watched him warm up.
Also, are you allowed to talk like that to somebody if you make half the money that they make when it's 1.5 million and 3 million? Because Josh makes double the money Austin Reeves does right now.
There's something about role players, like another role player telling another role player that you ain't crap. Like
Austin Reeves can't start for the Lakers. I mean, come on.
But anyway, I love stuff like that, and I love that Josh was just like, "Dude, get off me! I will kill you." But
can I say something about Christian Wood? Since we're the podcast that trashes Christian Wood, I thought
we're not the podcast that trashes Christian Wood. What are you talking about?
I get told that. I got told that twice today at games. At the game, I got told that twice by different people.
We're gonna okay. Okay. Answer this question for the pod. Answer this question for the pod. How much of what we talk about Christian Wood is based off what we know and what we hear about Christian Wood?
I'm just saying it's a reputation.
A lot of it.
I'm not saying we do. I'm saying it's a reputation that now we have gotten. But yes, it is about what we've heard and what we've seen from Jason Kidd and what we think Jason Kidd thinks about him. I thought Christian Wood had a really good game, and I thought that he had some really good minutes, especially that block on Anthony Davis in the fourth quarter. An incredible.
Dude was so bummed when they took him out initially for Dwight Powell.
Really upset in the
body language, everything was so bummed. And you know what? I think he actually had a case, because I'm not gonna be sitting there pounding the defensive player of the year for Christian Wood thing. He's not a great defensive player, but Dwight was getting ran through,
destroyed.
So at some point, try JaVale, try Christian Wood, like at least try him instead of Dwight just getting pummeled.
Yes.
by Anthony Davis.
And your rotations were not good. Were not good enough from a bunch of other reasons for you to just not try somebody else. And so I think they should have gone to Christian Wood more. I think he had 9 boards. He had some moments that weren't great, but I thought he had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
He forced the offense a little bit here and there, but like I would have wanted to see him more. Now, Dwight played 7 more minutes than Christian Wood. It wasn't like a ridiculous amount, but I think I would have liked to see Christian Wood more. I would have wanted to see Josh Green more. He got in foul trouble early. Like he got 3 fouls in his first little run there, and Jason Kidd kind of went off of him, and he decided to go with Holiday as the starter. What did you think about Holiday starting instead of Josh Green?
I'm fine with it. I mean, I literally just said this the other day on the Corner 3 show. I was like, hey, like if Justin Holiday starts, it's going to be for Josh Green. And it's because like, hey, you want these knockdown shooters in the starting lineup. You want to add some juice, to the second unit. And that's what they did. I was surprised Josh just got 15 minutes, but
that's what I can't do. That's what I can't do is you can start Justin Holiday. I think starting Justin Holiday instead of Josh Green is right because you need a better spot up shooter. I think Justin Holiday is a better spot up shooter than Josh Green. Maybe not this year. Josh Green's been amazing, but I think that you need that. And you don't want somebody, you want to have these guys that can do extra stuff coming off the bench and in that role, because in the like if you're starting with the starters and you're playing those minutes, then you're not going to get to do as much stuff, right? Your skills that you have are not as valuable in that group that they would be in a bench unit in that rotation. But then don't just play him 15 minutes. Like he was.
Yeah, I don't understand some of the rotation stuff. I don't understand why Frank plays at all. I'm sorry.
Frank played 11 minutes. Josh Green played 15. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Debut of Markieff Morris. Hit a 3. I mean, it would be so awesome if he could give the Mavs something. He's just, kids still just playing around with the rotation.
Yes, very much.
I mean, Justin Holiday literally just got waived and signed for free, and he started and played, 29 minutes tonight.
Imagine you're Justin Holiday and you go from being out of the Hawks rotation to then starting for the Dallas Mavericks, a better team.
I know. It's wild to think about. But, I joked about a little bit ago. A lot of this goes back to defense, man. I mean, another team just put up over 60 points in the paint. Like they had 62 points in the paint. The Lakers did. They just have in their defense is just absolutely horrible. And, what this tells me is, I know when you look at, there's some defensive, rating stuff in the first half, you're like, oh, this is going to help the Mavs. Because the Lakers literally missed their first 14 threes of the game, whatever. They only hit 6 in a game. They were 6 of 36 or something.
Yeah.
They shot 17% from 3. What that tells me though is they were just they just got cold from 3. This wasn't some big lockdown. If they could still put up 62 points in the paint and beat you and shoot 17% from 3, it still tells me your defense is pretty dang bad.
And we've known that. There's been a problem, right? The way that the Mavericks are constructed, It's going to be a problem. And you can say try JaVale. I mean, they've tried JaVale in the past, and JaVale's not been good. Remember, don't forget the beginning of the season where JaVale's really bad. But
yeah,
hey,
I'm not saying JaVale's. I was saying Christian Wood too. I would have at least tried one of them to at least try something on AD there, but. Or at least try to, bring a double sooner, try to keep him out of the paint, dare him to shoot the threes more, the long twos more. He hit a tough shot on Luka, late in the game, the turnaround fadeaway.
Yeah,
that was a tough shot. So, and then LeBron just kept on getting to the rim at will. At the end of the game, it's like they had no answer.
And what I mentioned earlier, the calculus for the Mavericks now is Luka and Kyrie have to beat the other teams. That's it. They got to beat, and Kyrie didn't. And if Kyrie has a better game, he shoots the ball better, he hits 2 or 3 more of those threes. He went 2 of 10 from 3, and he even said himself, he took blame and said that I missed a bunch of wide open looks, and he did. He hits a couple more of those, and the Mavs win this game. That's it. That's the difference. Is your 2 stars have to be so much better than the other 2 stars, and I think they are better players than those 2 other guys. But the Mavs just got beat in so many different ways, and then they didn't make up for it by shooting really well from 3. They 8 of 26 from 3 in the second half. And that doesn't work. And Kyrie was 1 of 8 from 3 in the second half. He makes three of those or something instead of 1. It's a completely different game.
There's no reason the Mavericks should have lost this game. You had, especially in that first half, and then you go up by 27 points. There's no reason why you lose that game. And that's on Luka and Kyrie. That's on the role players. That's on Jason Kidd. And it's on the refs too.
NBA, I knew you were going to get that last shot in. NBA teams were 138-0 this season in games where they led by 27 or more. 138-0. So this is the worst collapse of the season in the NBA.
Cool.
Tomorrow, we'll talk about how they respond from that and how they come back and
Rick Carlisle coming to town, baby.
How we make everything better after a loss like that. We'll be back every single day or 5 days a week plus post game. So hang out with us. Thanks for making us your first listen. Go check out Locked On NBA Game to Game. You'll hear from me. You'll hear from Andy Kamenetsky at the Lakers side of this. You'll hear from every moment, every top performance. You love Andy Kamenetsky. Don't
I love him, just not the Lakers.
Locked On NBA Game to Game on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel as well as Locked On NBA podcast feed. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.